Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ryan Retro channel. So it finally happened. If you're a fan of the retro gaming handheld scene, you probably saw this coming, but customers have started to report cracks around the hinges of their Retroid Pocket Flip 2s.
Crack.
Like pretty much every handheld that came before it that has a metal hinge inside plastic, hairline cracks, or even worse, have started to appear. Reddit has been flooded by these reports from users, and it all started a few days ago with this post. Since then, there have been many more posts of the same problem appearing for other users. Even as I'm filming this video, more and more keep appearing by the hour.
Tell you what, that crack is really Moorish.
Some of them are very slight hairline cracks beginning to form, and some of them are just completely cracked. Most of the reports so far have been related to the black model like I have here, but it's not only limited to this color. We have seen some other devices like the Miu Flip where only one colorway was affected. In that case, it was only the gray colorway that was affected due to a difference in the plastic between that one and the other variants. It remains to be seen if black will be the most notorious color for the Retroid Pocket Flip 2 hinge fiasco, but we have already seen other colorways suffer from the same problem. This post was uploaded to Reddit almost a month ago with their gray variant breaking, and there are also GameCube colorways popping up too. So like the Miu Flip, it might be the black version is slightly more susceptible to this, or black might just simply be more popular, so more users have them in their hands, and more black models are breaking. So what are Retroid going to do about all these broken hinges on a device that's only been out for 4 months? We do have an official response from Chris from Retroid, which I'll read to you now. It has come to our attention that some customers are experiencing a hinge crack on their Retroid Pocket Flip 2. If you experience a hinge crack on your Flip 2 device, please contact our customer service team through email sales@goretroid.com as soon as possible. The CS team will send you a prepaid shipping label. Once the package is obtained by the carrier, we will cross-ship a new unit back at no additional charge. David will be meeting with the engineers and suppliers together tomorrow at the factory for joint inspection/cross inspection. We had run tests on this hinge by robotic machine daily, 50,000 times. We've not yet seen this occur in our tests. Rest assured that we take this seriously and we will do our due diligence to resolve this for any affected customer. Thank you for your continued support. I think this is a really good response from Retroid, especially if we compare it to Miu's reaction to their own Flip disaster, which was to send a video back to the customer showing off how one of their ones was totally fine and insinuating it was the user's fault. I actually personally think that was hilarious, and I'm pretty sure they did fulfill the return on that, so I think it's all good in the end. But Retroid's response is pretty much the best we could have hoped for in this situation. They're going to replace any Flip 2 handhelds that are cracked at no expense to the customer. They'll send you a prepaid shipping label so you can send off your old cracked device to them for free and receive a new one all for free.
Crack. There you go. Cheers.
And interestingly, if you don't want a new Retroid Pocket Flip 2, if you've lost faith in the hinge mechanism, you can instead opt for a Retroid Pocket 5. You can send back your Retroid Pocket Flip 2 for free, and they will send you a brand new Retroid Pocket 5 instead, if you like the same internals, but without having to worry about any hinges. This free return policy is the kind of thing we'd expect from a big company like Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft. They would have to do that, but it's not really commonplace for these Chinese manufacturers of cheap handhelds. I think this is a really good move by Retroid, and as my students would say, a big W for Retroid. So how about my Retroid Pocket Flip 2? Well, over the past month or so, this has actually become my most used handheld. I set up a Beacon launcher on this, and I've mostly been playing Battlefield 1 through GeForce Now. I prefer the analog stick up top for these first-person shooter games over the Retroid Pocket 5's lower analog stick position. So I've been putting a lot of hours into this thing lately, and I've been flipping it open and closed many times. So what has my experience with the hinge been? Well, I'm actually not a fan of clamshell devices in general, because a hinge is a big point of failure and something that can easily break. And this hinge does not fill me with confidence at all. Ever since I got this device, I never felt confident with this hinge. and I think I know the reason why. The Retroid Pocket Flip 2 has very strong magnets inside, which snap it into position at 150 degrees. It has one more for 180 degrees, but the 150 degree magnet is super strong. It really holds that in place, and I think that is causing a lot of problems. Because when you go to close the device, I naturally want to close it like this. I'm right-handed, so I want to cup my hand around it and close it like that. Because the magnet is holding it very firmly in the middle, it's creating a lot of pressure between the center and the right-hand side. When I try to close it like this, I feel the center resisting my push movement, and I can feel all of that pressure building up over here. It's actually very difficult to do. So instead of closing it the way I would want to, which is how I would naturally close a book or a bag or my iPad folio cover, if I tried to close the Retroid Pocket Flip 2 in the same way, I'm met with resistance, and I can actually hear cracking sounds as I try to do it. It's not very loud, but if you listen carefully, there is a sound there. There is a kind of creaking sound there which does not fill me with confidence, and I felt that ever since I got the device. So the way that I close this device, and I have since I got it, is to put my thumb in the middle of the screen and close it very carefully from the middle where that magnet is. And that way there are no creaks and it seems very secure. So if you're someone who does have a cracked hinge, I would love to hear how you close the device. Do you grab it from one side and close it, or do you close it in the middle? The response from Retroid said that a machine opened and closed this 50,000 times, but I've seen videos of those machines before, and usually they are doing as I did and holding it from the middle like this. And I think if you always close and open it like this, you're not going to run into any problems because you're not straining either of the two corners. But if you open it like this, like real users will do very often, you're going to run into a lot of problems that the machine didn't run into when it did this. So I think that's one of the issues with using machines to test things. So basically what I'm saying is bring back human and animal testing. So that is my hypothesis on why we are getting cracked hinges and why there were no cracked hinges in the robotic tests done at the factory. Now, I'm not a structural engineer, so maybe I'm completely wrong here, but there's definitely a force you can feel when pulling with one side that you don't feel from the middle. But this being a touchscreen device, this is also not a very good way to close the device because you're touching the screen. And while the screen usually goes to sleep when you close it, so that should be okay, it's annoying to see apps suddenly launching and going all over the place when I'm just trying to close my lid. So as somebody who has used this a lot over the last month, let's take a closer inspection of my hinge and see what state it's in. As you look along the hinge, mine does seem to be in pretty fine condition. Again, I've been closing it in the center of the screen, which is how I would suggest everybody to do so moving forward, but it does seem to be in pretty good condition. So I'm happy that mine is holding up pretty well, but I'm also very saddened by how many are breaking already after only 4 months. So my advice to anyone with a Retroid Pocket Flip 2 is take a look at your hinge. If you see even the slightest tiny little hairline crack forming, get in touch with Retroid and get yourself a new Retroid Pocket Flip 2 or Retroid Pocket 5. Also, for any Retroid Pocket 2 Flip owners out there, try what I said and try to close it from the middle rather than one of the sides if it was what you were doing before, as you will be able to feel less strain and tension on the hinge mechanism when you do that, and that should theoretically solve a lot of the problems. We don't know how long Retroid are going to allow free returns of this. They're surely not going to keep that up forever, so I do strongly implore anyone with any kind of defect to get it replaced as soon as possible. I wanted to put this video together quickly to get this out there and raise awareness for anybody who has this device or is thinking about getting one soon. I hope this video was helpful. Please like and subscribe if it was, and I hope you all have a great day with only great crack.